Hello everyone, welcome back to my next video. Today we're going to be talking about bounties in One Piece and what the Straw Hats bounty will be after Wano. It's like a post-Wano bounty prediction. And let's just go through each of the 10 Straw Hats and see what I have to say. And the first we're going to talk about is Luffy. And Luffy is probably the one I have the most to say on. And I think Luffy's bounty is a very difficult thing to decide. Because obviously, by the end of Wano, he's going to probably have taken down Kaido. And this is actually like something big for the entire crew because now Luffy's already considered a emperor, but now this will probably like cement them even further as like, yeah, they're one of the emperors. Luffy, I guess, will have taken Kaido's spot. If Big Mom goes down, maybe Law or Kid will take one of their spots. I'm not gonna go into that. But I mean, this is assuming that the emperor system is still a thing when Wano ends. Maybe it'll just be completely gone, because the Yonko will be so much or so different than what it would originally was, and maybe Kaido will still be considered Yonko even if he was just defeated once. But it doesn't really matter because now the world government and the public will think of the Straw Hats as this big Yonko level crew. So Luffy, again, this is really difficult because right now Kaido's bounty is 4.6 billion, more specifically 4,611,100,000. And I don't think that Luffy will go above Kaido. And it just doesn't make sense for him to be, right? I mean, obviously he's gonna be considered Yonko level, but I still don't think it would make sense for him to already be one of the greats when there's an entire saga left. All the stuff for Luffy to show off his power, right? And I think most people will agree with that. I don't think anyone's expecting Luffy to have a 4 billion bounty. But I think his bounty will be 3 billion. And the reason for that is just a pattern that I noticed with his bounties, is that his beginning bounty is 30 million, right? And then, he gets the 100 million bounty, and then his next bounty is 300 million. And then Luffy gets a couple more bounties, and now he's at 1.5 billion. But if then he goes to 3 billion here, because I think that Luffy's final bounty, it's pretty, this isn't an unpopular opinion. A lot of people believe this, but it will be 5.6 billion because, Go is 5, Mu is 6, and, Gomu Gomu no Mi, Luffy. And I think that is a pattern that, that number is important to Luffy. Another thing in bounties where that number appeared is Katakuri. His bounty is 1,057,000,000 to kind of show how he one-ups Luffy and everything. Luffy's 56, but he's 57. He's just one greater than Luffy. But yeah, I think it'll be very interesting because there's obviously there's bounties in between, but 30 million, 300 million, and the next logical step obviously is to multiply by 10 and then get 3 billion. So I think that's what I'm gonna stand on Luffy. And another thing to keep in mind, depending on who you are, you might think, oh, that's way too low, oh, that's way too high. Right, but I feel like I think if you think it's way too high, then you still have to think Luffy is taking down an emperor. He has to be at least some level among them. And if you think it's way too low, Kaido's bounty is 4.6 billion. Why shouldn't Luffy be up there? Well, you also have to think about Blackbeard. Right now, Blackbeard's bounty is 2.2 billion only. So I don't think it will make sense for Luffy to go that much beyond, especially when Blackbeard's supposed to be the overarching threat, the overarching villain for the story. So I think right now I'm going to stick with 3 billion bounties for Luffy. Zoro and Sanji, now this might be a cop-out answer, but I'm going to give them the same bounty. And I think the reason for that is that, their rivalry has Zoro used to have the higher bounty, Sanji has the higher bounty. I feel like now it just makes sense for them to be considered equals. They're both the wings of the Pirate King, right? So King and Queen have bounties of they both have 1.3 billion, but King has 1.39, Queen has 1.32 billion. So for both of them, I'm gonna give them a bounty of 1.5 billion, both of them. And just to compare, another one of the first mates of an emperor is Marco, and he has a bounty of 1.374 billion. So Zoro and Sanji will be above that, but I still think it does make some sense for them to be at that level. So yeah, 1.5 billion for both of them. Although if their bounties are going to be different, then I guess I'll say Zoro will have 1.5 billion, and Sanji will have let's just say 1.3 billion. Because the reason I said they're the same is because Oda has shown so much, like in their battles in the manga, which I'm gonna put a spoiler warning at the beginning, but yeah, this is manga spoilers. Oda showed so much, like he put so much screen time and effort into both of their fights to show how much both of them are improving, that it just wouldn't make sense for one to be above the other anymore. Because Zoro got a bunch of power-ups, now Sanji gets a bunch of power-ups, now both of them are progressing, and both of them are the wings of the Pirate King, and I feel like it would make sense for them to same bounty, so I still am going to stick with my 1.5 bill for both of them. Now for the next three, Nami, Frankie, and Usopp. I'm going to do those at the same time, because for them, I'm going to do what is basically like an association raise, where basically like in Dressrosa, a lot of the Straw Hats who didn't really do much got a increase of 50 million berries because they just were one of the Straw Hats. Luffy took down an warlord, so they just like got an increase just for being associated with him. So right now, as it goes, I don't think Nami, Frank, and Usopp are important enough to get anything more than that, but 50 million I still think is too low, because of course it's an emperor, which is a much greater power than warlord. So I'm gonna give each of them 100 million increase. So Nami will go from 66 million to 166 million. Frankie will go from 94 million to 194 million. Usopp will go from 200 million to 300 million, which is honestly a crazy bounty for Usopp. It's the same bounty that Luffy had after Enies Lobby, which is kind of cool to think about. But yeah, like Usopp, like Nami and Frankie, I'm almost certain they got the association fee in Dressrosa. Usopp didn't, but that's because like it was like a different identity. He went from Soga King to God Usopp. I'm not sure if the world government even knows if they're the same person. But yeah, God Usopp, he got a new bounty of like a new person. I think Soga King's bounty is still like active. I'm almost certain. So yeah, Usopp, he had 200 million for all he did in Dressrosa. I don't think he's gonna play as important of a role in Wano, so that's 300 million for him. And I already said Nami and Frankie. Now the rest, I wanted to give association fees for a couple more, but I don't think it quite fits. The next one is Brooke, and Brooke is a character that if he doesn't do much, which he might not, then I would also give him the association fee, bringing from 83 mil to 183 mil. But there is a plot line going in the manga currently where Brooke might have to face off against CP0. Now CP0 have been chasing Brooke and Robin for a while, and Brooke has been kind of acting like her bodyguard. So if they ever do meet, then it is likely for them to have a fight. A lot of people don't think so because they don't think it makes sense to introduce a fight for a Straw Hat this late in the game when all the other like major fights are concluding. I still think it will happen. Because before they had Apu and Drake go against CP0, they got defeated. Well, Apu didn't get defeated, he ran away. Well, this is all like as of I'm recording this video actually on New Year's, January 1st. Happy New Year, everyone. I think this is actually gonna be the first video I upload on New Year's. So Happy New Year's. Yeah, what was I saying? Okay, yeah. So Apu and Drake. Apu ran away. Drake's gone for the count, or he's down for the count. So I think it just makes sense for Brooke to have a fight. And I guess like this is predictions, so I have to incorporate what I think will happen throughout Wano, and I do think Brooke will have a fight with them. Of course, it is possible for like some of the samurai or something, or maybe when the retainers to go up against CP0 and stall them so Brooke and Ron can escape. That's entirely possible, but I'm going to go with the assumption that Brooke does defeat one of the CP0 members, and I'm going to give him a 200 million berry increase. So he goes from 83 million to 283 million. And if this does happen, I don't have to be so hyped, because I think Brooke is severely underrated in terms of his bounty. Like, I think 83 million is like, that's just way too low. And now with this, he'll go above Frankie, above Nami. Well, I think he was above Nami before. But yeah, above Frankie, above who else? Like, I don't think anyone else. But yeah, I think it'd be great for him. And another cool thing is when Luffy took down CP9, he also got a 200 million berry increase. He went from 100 million to 300 million. And that actually wasn't my thought process when giving it. I just gave him twice the raise I gave for the other association fees. But I think it is a cool thing, you know, just think about. And then Jimbei. Jimbei is also a very hard one for me because he's such a powerful foe, yet he still hasn't really done much during Wano. Like he fought off against Who's Who, but I still don't think he's gonna do too much. So I was tempted to give him the association fee. But Jimbei is like a big threat to the world government. I mean, the world government already knows how much of a threat Jimbei is, so it's not like they're gonna uncover any like new ground. Like, oh my god, Jinbei's a much bigger threat than we would have thought. No, it's not gonna be like that. But he is, after this, going to be directly a member of a Yonko crew, which I think should make the world government a little nervous, right? Because Jimbei, they know how strong Jimbei is. They know how much of a, you know, how much help he can give. And so I think I'm going to raise his bounty by 150 million berries. So a little bit more than the 100 million that increase I did for the others. I think this is probably going to be the one I have the least confidence in. But I am going to go with 558 million berries for Jimbei, which does suck because I always liked Jimbei. I think he's really underrated, but he is going to be like, before he was the second highest bounty. Now Sanji and Zoro are going to leave him in the dust, which is unfortunate, but I think it's going to happen. Now Chopper, I said Jimbei was my least confident one. Chopper might actually be, because we all know the gag around him. You know, he has a very criminally low bounty because the world government thinks of him only as a pet. But I feel like if there's any place to break the gag and actually give him a real bounty, I feel like this would be it. I honestly think it would be. Because Wano, we're now going into the climax of the series. The Straw Hats have to all be viewed as a really powerful crew. Because, you know, now they're one of the emperors, one of the emperor crews, and, you know, they all have to be seen as one power before, like, you know, everything happens in the final saga, whatever that may be, against, like, the world government, or who knows, right? So I'm gonna incorporate a theory that I saw a while ago, and I think it was on, like, a YouTube comment, or maybe it was a YouTube video, but the theory that the world government is gonna keep Chopper's original bounty and recognize Chopper's monster form as something different. So I'm gonna say that Chopper's bounty is gonna stay at it's gonna raise to 150 berries, but Chopper's monster form will get a new bounty of 150 million berries. Okay, I thought maybe if we're gonna break the gag, we should go like, it won't feel satisfying if he only gets like 50 million. I mean. So I think 150 million is kind of a good spot. You know, he's still the lowest among the crew, but I think it still makes sense for him for a very first bounty. And plus, it's not like he's really doing much in Wano anyways. I mean, he did make the cure for the Oni virus, but I don't think the world government is going to care that much about that. But yeah, so 150 million for Chopper's monster form, and then 150 for Chopper. So I think that would create a cool, or like a really funny moment where they're all raising their bounty. Chopper's like, oh yeah, god, raised from 100 to 150, and then like maybe another one shot's like, wait, look, Chopper, and then they show him, and his monster form gets 150 million. I think that would be cool. And then there's Robin. Robin is an interesting one, cause the world government seems to be very interested in her, right? They like, there's a line that Rob Luffy said was like, the importance of that woman cannot be understated or something. So it would make sense for her to have a very high bounty, but they also thought she was really important during the NES Lobby saga. Yet they raised her bounty from like what? I'm almost certain it was 89 million or 88 or 89 million berries to 90 million berries, which is or was it 79 million to 80 million? I think that was it. Which was like, you know, and I feel like 80 or 79 million is already way too low from the start, right? So the world government is very inconsistent with how they view her as such a big threat, yet they give her such a low bounty, right? But now the Straw Hats are reaching like they're like getting all these poneglyphs. The world government is probably gonna be really scared, you know. They're gonna be scared of Robin because she's like, if the Straw Hats get all the poneglyphs, that's gonna be really bad for them. They can't have another pirate king, right? So, and also they can't like have anyone discover what the void sentry is. So I'm gonna say that Robin, I think this fits her, but I'm not sure it will happen. I'll say she goes from 130 million to 1 billion berries. And I really do think that this makes sense, which would make her the fourth highest, behind Sanji, Zoro, and Luffy. But I do think it does make a lot of sense to have that. So yeah, I think now those are my predictions for the Straw Hats. Luffy is at 3 billion. Because, oh yeah, another thing I didn't mention, Luffy versus Kaido. The world government, they will know that Luffy defeated Kaido, but they probably won't know to what extent, right? They'll know that it was a team effort, right? Because they know the Scabbards are there. They'll probably know some of the worst generation are there. So they won't be like Luffy single-handedly defeated Kaido. So I think they'll also incorporate to him not having as high of a bounty. So yeah, Luffy, 3 billion. Zoro 1.5, Sanji 1.5, Nami 166 million, Frankie 194 million, Usopp 300 million, Brooke 283 million, Jimbei 558 million, Chopper 150, Chopper's monster form 150 million, and Robin at 1 billion. And this is my final predictions for Wano. I think once Wano ends sometime next year, I will probably make a follow-up video just to see how close I was, and that's kind of one of my main reasons for making this video. I just wanted to see if I could actually like how accurate each of these will be. So yeah, I think I did pretty. I think these predictions make some sort of sense. So yeah, leave your predictions in the comments below. You probably disagree with me on a couple of these at least. You probably think some of them had too much of an increase, had too little of an increase. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Leave your own predictions in the comments below and your thoughts on what the bounties will be after Wano, how long the bounties will last, if the bounties will even still be a thing at the end of the story, which if they won't, Luffy probably would never get his 5.6 bill. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.